Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters and viewers of IQRA TV. Welcome back to another edition of Real Talk, the program that comes to you every week, week in, week out, bringing you, I hope, issues and items of interest that members of the IQRA TV viewership find of interest, and that somehow helps them in their day-to-day lives. As I say to you every time, we cover a host of different subjects every week to try and bring information, notification of issues that are developing within our communities, and to bring issues that we face on a day-to-day basis which affect everyone's lives. A few weeks ago we did something on cancer, then we did one on the University of Bradford. We've done issues around hate crime against Muslims. Today I want to talk to you about something very sensitive and very topical at this moment in time, having done the program on cancer and cancer support in Bradford. Every one of you will have come across the term hospice. Some of you may have even used the hospices that you have in your areas. The hospices dotted all over the place, all over the country. But there's a lot of myths and misunderstanding about the hospice and its role and its function in the community, whether it's a national health service facility, or whether it's a privately run or a voluntary service organization. I have today with me two very eminent guests who have worked in hospices for a number of years, and they come from the Muslim background, so they know all our needs in terms of culture, faith, etc. So, and the reason why I've asked them to come is to come and explain to us and bust some of the myths that surround around hospices that some people may have. A lot of people see hospices as the sort of the end of a line of the life of the individual, where people are pushed and shunted away. But that is not what they are. They're there as a service to the patient as well as the families. And that is what I want to talk to you about. So I'm really deeply honored that I have with me today, as I say, two very eminent guests. Sadaf is from the Kirkwood Hospice, as is Fazana Ali. Both of them work for Kirkwood Hospice, which is based in Huddersfield, in this part of the world. And as I say, there are many, many hospices around. But I want to use their knowledge, their experience, and their personal sort of contact with the community about what services they offer and how those services can be accessed and how members of the community can benefit from those services. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sadaf and Fazana, welcome to IQRA TV and Real Talk. Thank you for coming here.
No, thank you for having
I hope
us.
you've not had a difficult journey getting here. On a wonderful day in Bradford, nice of you to be here.
A nice scenic journey to Bradford from
Well,
Huddersfield,
good.
so
I mean,
you know,
both of you have not come from that far away anyway.
No.
So welcome. I mean, you work for the Kirkwood Hospice. Kirkwood Hospice is based in Huddersfield.
Yeah.
I've never had the fortune to visit it. Can you just tell me about the hospice itself? What is it about? What does it do? How was it established? And then we can talk about how people can access from it as well.
Yeah,
Because later on I'll be talking to another guest who's actually used a hospice facility, and they can explain to you how they've benefited from the services that hospices throughout the country, and they're amazing places that they can offer. So your hospice, how long has it been going?
So Kirkwood Hospice has been running now for about 31 years.
Wow.
And so we were established really with the help of our community. So as a hospice, we're a charity in Kirklees, and we're there to help anyone with a life-limiting illness. So I know you mentioned cancer, of course, but sometimes there's a lot of myth and a bit of misunderstandings about hospice and hospice care.
Yes.
So we're here to help people sort of manage their quality of life. We're here for anyone in Kirklees, and it's not a building that people go to die, but more a charity that's got an ethos of supporting people. So I'm sure you'd agree, Fazana?
Absolutely, yes. A lot of the time people think it's just cancer, and that's the only thing they can help you with or support you with. But again, culturally, we haven't used hospices as much because we had families to look after us.
That has been the tradition, hasn't it?
That has been the tradition.
Yes.
It's breaking away from that now.
Right.
However, you still have families, and a lot of people do. What the real concerns are managing medically. So you do have that support from the hospice where you can be managed and supported at home. So the myth about that you have to go to a building or you have to go to a hospice, you don't have to.
That's not true.
You have
So you
support.
provide care in the community as well?
We
Yeah,
do,
we
yeah,
provide it in
yeah.
the community. you can have that support at home as
So
well.
hospice staff can come out into people's homes.
Yeah,
and
so we
provide
do have a
that-
team
you're
of
right.
community nurses. So
Mhm.
a lot of the time people are quite surprised because they think it's just a building, but actually we see more people and support more people in their own homes.
All right, I see.
And I know Farzana referred to the fact that, especially from a cultural point of view, sometimes we worry that if we get other services involved, then we're admitting that we're failing or that we can't cope.
Mm.
But the way that I see it is, if I, went outside and fell over and broke my arm, I wouldn't just suffer with that. I'd go and get help and go and get support. And I think it's the same if you're living with an illness that you know isn't going to get better, or if you're caring for somebody, then we should be really open as a community, I think, to accessing the support that's out
I
there.
mean, there's been a stigma attached to it, hasn't it, in the
Definitely,
past?
yeah.
And one of the reasons I've asked you here is to try and break that stigma,
Yeah.
to say, there shouldn't be a stigma to it. It's like you
Yeah.
say, people are struggling nowadays and they're not, they might not be able to cope. So Farzana, in terms of the actual service that you offer, I mean, I've heard that the medical care that you provide in a hospice is much better than what is being provided in hospitals, because you've got specialist staff there, haven't you?
We do. We have got, and we are dealing with sensitive and long-term conditions. So we specialise in long-term conditions. So we've got specialist nurses, doctors who look at not just one aspect of your life. So it is actually looking at whole person, whole family, whole dynamics of what you actually need. It is managing pain. So you would get specialist medical support in conjunction with your GPs, with your other consultants that you have, that you actually, so you work as a team. So it's not just coming to hospice, not having other services. We work with your GP, we work with your consultants. So it's a joint effort, joint support that you actually need. Most of the time we are managing emotional needs as well as the medical needs. So
which is
it's
very
not
important.
just, it's not just managing medical
It's absolutely
needs.
vital, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially for the family.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm sure there'll be many people out there who will have used hospice services, throughout the country. And if anybody wants to ring in and give us, your sort of explanation or your version of how you've benefited or found it difficult to use a hospice, please feel free. The phone number is 01274, as you know, it'll be on the screen, 214-299. And we'd love to hear your story as well. Now, coming back, a lot of people feel that these institutions, because they're seen as institutions, aren't they, are not culturally and faith sensitive. Now, obviously, you being Muslims working in there, I'm sure you probably made sure that those issues are dealt with and have been addressed. So, have they been addressed?
Definitely, yeah. I think we feel really proud to work for an organisation that is very open about the fact that we're there for everyone, and we don't want people to be sat at home thinking, well, I couldn't go somewhere like that because there might not be facilities to do wudu or read namaz, or there might not be halal food. So I think we do consider ourselves to be really culturally sensitive, and I know the fact that we both work there, it's really important for people to be able to see others that look like them, that don't have to worry about the fact that their culture or their religion isn't going to be respected.
I mean, everything is catered for very sensitively. When we do have our nurses do go and see patients at home to do the assessment, every aspect of your life and every small tiny wish that you want to be addressed or want to make sure that it's actually supported, that will be taken into account, and we will try and provide as much help and support and try to cater for those needs. So you will have, if it's a particular dish that you want, that will be catered for you and by a lovely chef. So if it's actually namaz you want to read, or if it's you want to have imam there as well, so anything and everything that you wish for. So it is actually absolutely amazing in
So
those
there's pastoral
terms.
care there as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
So not just for the patient but for the families as well, for children
So what sort of
as well.
support do you provide the family? I mean, I've heard of respite care. So if somebody is ill in the home and they've been caring for that individual for months, and then you might take them into the hospice, so it gives the family some respite. Is that what you provide as well, or the other way around?
That's quite a common misconception. So I think people think that we offer respite care, but we've got a unit which has got 16 beds, and we cover a patient size of about 400,000. So really we're there to provide that specialist expert support. But from a family point of view, we've got a wonderful family care and spiritual care team that can help. And I think we recognise that when someone has got an illness that they're not going to recover from, it's something that's important to support that person, but also their family, because their family are going through it.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah,
yes.
and
yes.
from a cultural point of view, you know, we are so family orientated, aren't we? So, you know, we've got big families, we're very supportive. So I think we recognise the fact that family is very important to people.
But, I mean, that is true. I mean, the Asian community has been very well known for generations that, you know, we look after ourselves. But as Farzana said sort of earlier on and alluded, that structure is now unfortunately breaking down for all sorts of reasons. Right? The family structure is not as strong and as robust as it was before. And therefore, it's not that the families don't want to do it, they don't have the capacity maybe to look after somebody. Now, so, you know, in that circumstances, you can step in and help them.
We would, yeah. So we've recently launched a new service which looks at how do we coordinate care, because if you've got a long-term condition, you'll know that there's so many services out there. You sort of think, well, where do I start? So we can really help, and our nurses will go and visit people at home, get the GPs involved. So we are very good, we feel, like coordinating care and getting things right for the person.
So all the agencies work together?
Yeah. Yeah, but we do a lot of work around training and education as well, because we think it's important that other professionals recognise and understand what hospice care is about.
So Farzana, I mean, you're the care coordinator at Kirkwood. What does that entail?
That entails basically, I do non-clinical support, so that could be patient as well as the family. So it could be that they actually they live in conditions which are not adaptable. It could be anything. So I basically coordinate the care throughout Kirkley. So whatever services we have with council, with social services, adaptation teams, local community groups, respite in terms of social activity groups. It could be, I mean, list is endless. It's basically speaking to the individuals, speaking to their families, speaking to their carers, and talking to them to find out what is it that actually they want from us. How can we support them? How can we eliminate a little bit of stress from them? So just make a little bit day easier. Could be just a chat on phone once a week or every 4 weeks, just to see them managing, that they're quite happy with those, they're happy with the services. So we can actually speak to a lot of different people on their behalf, so they don't have to go to stress.
So the trauma of all doing all that is taken away from the family.
And I think
so it's a holistic approach that you provide.
It's linking things up so the person and their family don't have to do that, and that's done for them.
Because I know people have to navigate through
it's
lots of bureaucratic
it's very
processes.
Complicated. And I think if you speak English and you're really confident, then sometimes you can get the things that you need, but you know, from a cultural point of view, sometimes it's difficult and you don't want to kick up a fuss, you don't want to ask for services. But I think we're quite passionate that our service is there for everyone, and we shouldn't let things like that hold people back.
Right.
Yeah.
Now obviously, you know, we're going to be going for a break soon. This is something that, as I say at the beginning, a lot of people have misconceptions about hospices, and you know, there's some stigmas attached to it, and therefore there's issues around how do you break the barriers. And when we come back, I mean, can we talk about how do you promote your services to the wider Muslim community in particular? I mean, have you got some networks that you built with mosque madrasas, etc.? You know, how do you do that? And you know, the age range of people who come in as well. I mean, we normally think about bude ho gaye, bimari aa gayi, you know, now you know, the end of lifetimes maybe situation, or long-term illnesses from which they're not going to recover. So obviously, you know, you talked about people coming for all sorts of reasons. So we can come and talk to about that. But I mean, so far, I hope you found this part, the first part. We're going to go for a break now. Very interesting. I certainly have. There's some myths that have been bust for me as well. But this is something that is touching everybody's lives, whether we like it or not at times. And therefore, it's an important subject. Don't go away. Make yourself a tea or coffee, whatever it is. Inshallah, we'll be back with you. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.